Hey, Matt, beautiful, my man, and thank you so very much for being here. And you see, Matt, oftentimes I love to thank my guests for two things, and I do this so often to the point where it has become an anthem for me. So, firstly, I want to say thank you so very much, Matt, for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invest that in yourself. And oftentimes, my man, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Matt, just recently I was on that same road, and this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance, and immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, my man, I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely moment that day. I was so excited. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Matt that you are today, that alone has made it really impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you see you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing, the impact your work is having, your philosophies, your insights, how you are offering your solutions. These stuffs are amazing. And just before you got the request from me, my man, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Matt is doing. Not only me now, but even the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Matt. So thank you so very much for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thank you so much, my man.
My pleasure. It's great to be here with you to have this conversation. And we're not too different from mango trees. We go through different seasons of our lives, and mango trees are incredible. They can live up to 300 years. They can fruit for over 40 years. And with the right conditions, the right environment, the care, nurturing the nutrients that they need, they can fruit for over a century. They are amazing. They provide fruit, they provide
Yeah,
shelter, they provide oxygen, and they provide beauty.
exactly, my man. They're amazing. I love that. So let's get started. You see, Matt, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge now, but the application of it. And you see, Matt, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness means ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. The second reason why I'm excited to have the amazing Matt on the show is for the sake of the listeners. You see, Matt, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So, for that reason, Matt, my man, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are just so curious. We want to know how Matt got here. Then, afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Matt, my man, over to you.
Thanks for this opportunity. I think that insightful, impacting, I love those I words that you used. Illuminating is powerful, the light that we have within. And sometimes that light is dimmed for one reason or another. For myself, some of my personal journey includes teen homelessness, addiction, days that were really dark, deep, dark depression. And ultimately, it was until I had others help illuminate a better path a healthier path. I really walked in darkness. So I'm grateful for mentors, for people in my life who have really, again, shown a light to a better way, a better path. My professional career has been helping people build whole health wealth. I spent 20 years in credit counseling, coaching, educating people from all different walks of life, from preschool to senior citizen centers, to all different homeless shelters, to prisons, to banks, to employers. And what I found is that knowledge, as you said earlier in the introduction, Elisha, is only one ingredient that helps us to be successful, but it's the application of the knowledge that truly can be impactful and be transformative. Here in the United States, we have, and many other places, but I'm in the US, in the greater Boston area, and it's the area that I know the best. And US businesses are impacted significantly by financial stress. One statistic actually from Salary Finance, a journal here, estimated $4.7 billion was lost in productivity every single week. Let me repeat that again, because sometimes we get desensitized to numbers. $4.7 billion every week in the United States are lost in productivity as a result of financial stress. So people stress. And we were talking even in the introduction, Elisha, that we can't control all the circumstances around us, the stuff that happens outside of ourselves. What we can control is our reaction to that. And with financial stress, oftentimes it's an indicator of something deep down within ourselves. And maybe it's financial traumas. Maybe it's part of our history that we haven't been able to do the work or have an illumination on a better, brighter way. And I know for myself, as I said, many people have helped coach and mentor me in the financial realm, but overall, so that I could build whole health wealth. And whole health wealth is looking at not just the financial, but all of the different domains of well-being. That includes, again, financial, most definitely, but also occupational, our emotional well-being, our physical well-being, our relational well-being. We have an epidemic of loneliness in the United States. And friends from around the world have reported similarly, especially going through COVID and now in this post-COVID world. We have many opportunities for connection. Social media, knowledge, as you mentioned earlier, Elisha, is prevalent everywhere we turn, like grains of sand. They're innumerable. But among all of that, it can still be so lonely. And ultimately, what I do is I work with organizations to bring hope, to help employees be financially well and thriving so that it directly impacts productivity, so that companies, organizations aren't part of that $4.7 billion weekly loss.
Amazing, man. That's a great one you're doing. I tell you, using your solution to help solve that particular problem, that's profound and I love it. And thank you for the wondrous stuff that you're doing. So I'm just going to begin with this one, all right? What is whole health wealth? Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So whole health wealth is the concentration and idea that our well-being in the different domains, I mentioned a few, the physical, the occupational, the emotional, the spiritual, the financial. So 8 domains of well-being, that they're inseparable. They're connected in ways that relate to each other. So for instance, if you've ever been stressed because of personal finances, maybe more bills than you have money to pay for, more food and groceries that become too expensive and become stressful to manage that grocery budget. I know I felt that. That stress is real. And that stress that we have as a result of that lack of financial well-being affects our physical well-being as well. There's a study by the American Psychological Association that shows in the United States, almost a quarter of the population has at least at some time felt stress so significant as a result of their personal finances that it creates PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms. So loss of sleep, things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, it directly has an impact on life's longevity. So thinking about financial stress in that perspective of whole health wealth, it's critical. It's vital to our very nature, our very well-being.
I got that. I got that. Okay, so let's talk about money story. How can people start healing their money story?
Yeah, man. I mean, that goes deep, right? When we think about our money stories, they're individual, just like the thumbprint. Each of us has a different one that's very unique. Math, 1 + 1, as simple as it is, most of us can agree that 1 + 1 = 2. But if you have $1 and add another dollar to it and ask people in a room, what can you do and what are the best things you can do with $2? The answers are going to be varied. There's going to be some that are passionate, some that are apathetic, but certainly there's going to be many very different thoughts, opinions, and ideas about the best things to do with those $2. Our money stories really begin with some of our first money memories. When we're little kids, generally, and we see whether it's parents, whether it's those who raised us, whether we were a product of neglect. There's a huge range. But those money stories and what we witness, what we experience as kids really do form within the first few years of our life and childhood development, the ideas, values, beliefs, and skills in managing money later on in life. So think about, for instance, the knowledge about money is pretty simple. We already came to the conclusion, we pretty much agree, 1 + 1 = 2. When it comes to spending money, most people have heard, don't spend more than you make and you'll be all right. But we all know that alone as advice isn't helpful and sometimes it's harmful. Because again, money is emotional. And with those emotions, when they're not controlled, we have things like different addictions. Process addictions, including gambling, overspending. And there are in the United States places like Debtors Anonymous and Gamblers Anonymous. Without controlling our emotions, our thoughts, our feelings, and doing that work to get to the root of those thoughts and feelings, our money story ends up being written oftentimes by those outside of us. So think about marketing. A marketer's job is to convince us that we can't live without whatever it is that they're selling. The Nike commercial that sells us Reeboks is never going to exist. Adidas is never going to tell us to go and buy a different brand of sneaker because they're not trying to sell us Converses. Nike's trying to sell us Nike, and they're going to use marketing to hit us deep in the heart, to help us feel like if we wear the shoes, then we will be able to run faster, jump higher, achieve and accomplish more. I'm a little bit old school, so Michael Jordan sneakers were sort of where I came up. And there was a commercial that really talked about Michael Jordan being Michael Jordan. He's amazing, always be a GOAT. I'm not going to get into an argument, LeBron, Curry, whatever, but I mean, Jordan was amazing no matter what. And the Nike commercial selling Jordans ultimately looked at his skills, and everybody had the conversation, it's got to be the shoes, got to be the shoes. How's he able to do that? Got to be the shoes. And ultimately, when we stop back in our rational mind, we know those shoes aren't going to make me a baller like Michael Jordan. I can't jump. I can't shoot. I mean, I can think it in my mind, but no matter how many pairs of sneakers I buy, I'm not going to have the skills of Jordan. I can put in the time, I can put in the reps. Michael Jordan was dropped from teams early on when he was a kid. He tried and failed and tried and failed and tried and continued to learn how he could build on those successes. And ultimately, failure wasn't of his mindset. It was every chance and opportunity helped him to grow so that he could be the best. And when we think about rewriting our money story internally, not letting marketers or other people outside of us tell us what we need to do, what we need to be, and how we need to act as we go about, and the dollars that we spend and where we spend them. But we write our own money stories so that our influence comes intrinsically and impacts the world so that we are a light that can shine a path for others to see, a way to prosperity.
Profound words. Now I see why you're so good at what you do. You see, I would have to listen to our conversation again and again, my man. I need to process all of this. I leave nothing behind. Okay, so we have
Thanks, man.
just two more
I
questions.
appreciate it. And you know what?
Let's get
It's an
personal a bit.
ongoing
All right.
learning process. I mean,
I've got to say, you're very
when it
strong
comes,
listening to your experiences,
thanks.
all that you've gone through, and you're still standing, offering your solutions to help others. So, how did homeless addiction and cancer shape how you see success?
See, for me, I have been through a lot and came close to death many times through addiction, through overdose, through cancer more recently. And ultimately, my faith guides me because I am alive by grace. No doubt about it. One thing that I carry with me is perspective, because I can be grateful no matter the circumstances. When it comes to something like cancer, bile duct cancer was the type that I had, and it's a grim prognosis. But why not me? Why not me? Many have challenges. And at some point in our lives, we all will go through something difficult. If you haven't, amen, enjoy it. If you have, you understand what I'm speaking of. We cannot control our circumstances. However, we can control our reactions to that. And through cancer, I can remain grateful. I'm still here. I'm still standing. I still have something to give. And for that, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have this conversation. I'm grateful to be able to feel sun on my face. I'm grateful still for the vision that I have, that I can see incredible things, whether they be mango trees or the fruit that they bear.
Beautiful.
I can. Yeah.
There we go. Beautiful, my man. That was a profound one, and I love it. So to bring this to an end, Matt, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who would like to reach out to you, learn more about everything we've discussed, or they felt inspired, they want to ask you questions, how can that be possible?
Thanks. Yeah. Hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm active there and happy to connect. A final thought that I have that really is important for me, even though I've learned a lot and I've taught a lot, I've helped over 100,000 people through my teaching and speaking. I love getting on stages. My best-selling, award-winning book has been able to influence a lot of people. But money is still an ongoing personal journey. It's something that I continue to grow, evolve, and wrestle with because I'm not perfect when it comes to discipline. The last thought that I'd like to say is there is always hope. As long as we're on this side of the grave, as long as we have breath in our chest and light in our eyes, there's hope. And with that hope, we can be motivated to action. And that motivation to action can create discipline, and we can live incredible lives with well-being, regardless of circumstances around us, regardless of things that are beyond our control, because we can control our reaction to them and know always that there's hope. And in that, always find joy and be fulfilled.
Profound words. There is always hope. That's beautiful. I love that. So that's going to be the end of the show, my man. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing this beautiful stuff with us. I tell you, it means a whole lot. Thank you, my man.
My pleasure. It's been great